Alrighty, let's get her going. Alright, how's everybody doing? Hello, Toaster, Waffle. How you doing? I am feeling better today. I did not have... My head feels a little bit fuzzy, but it's good enough, and that's all that matters. Welcome back to this. It's been almost a year. I checked. I looked at the VOD. We played the first game in September of last year. So, it's been a hot minute. But we're back. The Ace Attorney news got me an Ace Attorney kick, and now I'm here. Didn't finish case 2 of the first part, but I'm still here. Nice. Okay, so, yeah. For those of you who don't know, I play these games, and I do terrible voice acting, so I apologize in advance. It's gonna be bad. Now, last we left off, I think there was like a whole mystery involved. I think Susato... I went through and looked at a bunch of characters' names again, just to remind myself. I think Susato went back to Japan, and like we had a secret message with all of our names in it. We didn't know what the fuck it was supposed to be. I don't know. Hopefully it'll give me like a quick overview, because these games are pretty good about that. About what happened last time. Select adventure? No. This is not what I want to do. I want to do new game. All right. We'll see how long my voice lasts. Oh, something I will also have to change is the recording for this is probably super jank. One sec.
Standing here in the bright sunshine,
that on?
looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But
I also might have to mess with the volume a little bit. Oh, I'm gonna have to move my camera somewhere else.
You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court.
A lot of screen real estate in this game.
Forgive
Oh,
me
didn't her dad die?
for taking so long to come to visit you.
That was the thing that happened,
such
didn't
a
it?
whirlwind since I returned.
I'm really banking on there being
No
like a
one
limited
could
amount
have
of returning
predicted
characters, because I don't remember most
what
of the
has
voices I
happened.
used.
Just 2 months after arriving home.
I find myself faced with an awful crime. What the fuck? Oh, this chick from the first case.
So I came here today to ask something of you.
Why was
Tomorrow,
there no voice
I
acting
shall
for
be
the
standing
one
in
line?
court for the only time in my life.
Did she get accused of murder? Oh no, she's a lawyer. What? Oh, fascinating. Oh God,
So please,
she died.
I ask for your guidance.
What the hell?
Kazuma-sama,
This is taking an incredible turn right out of the gate. So the first murderer in the first case died. And now we're defending somebody as Susato? Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. Okay, we're off to a hell of a start. 13th August, 8:26 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendant's Antechamber 3. Kazuma, wasn't that the main dude from the first game? That was the mentor, quote-unquote, character. He was the guy with the red headband that died in case 2. More judging, yes. Hello, Ultimate Fails. I'm cold and I do not know where my shirt is. My cat is very lap. I wish I was cold. In fact, I would do a lot of things to be cold, but I am hot. So, I guess that's whose grave that was, not her father's. That would make sense. I couldn't remember if her... There was something that happened to her dad, like, and that was why she was coming back? Question mark? I don't remember. You have central AC? I wish. Yeah, it's very hot in Alberta right now, and we don't have AC here. It's not a thing that we've needed in past years, but now it is a thing that we should probably have. And I don't like it. Alright. Todd, because you're there, thank you. AC doesn't exist in Canada? It's in some places, but not most. It's very, very few places. Oh god, I'm Susato. Your voice was... I think I remember. Here I am again after 9 months, the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. Okay, no, he is alive. What the fuck was your voice? I thought I'd never see you again. Good you're here. Doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, Counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Is he my mentor for this case? It just doesn't exist. Alright, fair. Oh dear. The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. That's a bleep. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Oh, what was the judge's voice? Christ. Oh, I'm covering up the names with my face. My big stupid face. I didn't mean to go forward. I was clicking on OBS and it counted. Eugene Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. That's who this man is. God! What it was... Stop pressing buttons. A man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain to study the latest advances in forensic medical science. Why does it keep going every time I click back? Did I hit autoplay? I think I might have. Who is this? Hang on. I'm fucking with the controls and I'm doing all the wrong things. And of course, my brilliant father. Oh good, another female voice. I'm so good at those. How to differentiate them. Here we go. Why is it still going? No, I don't want to autoplay. I just want to go back. But every time I hit back, it advances the dialogue. Excuse me. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yes, that's right, miss. Okay, I hit back. Okay, right-click works. We're learning. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication. This whole thing. Never left click ever. Ray Mbami, born the same year as I, and my greatest friend. Oh, good. This is gonna go poorly. Best friends don't really work out for anyone in Ace Attorney. It's always a pain in the ass. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory, helping my father. And sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committing a truly awful murder. Are you feeling all right? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh, my controller's vibrating. Unplug that. Oh my, it's just that. You look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Oh. Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am.
It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work.
Oh, what do you mean, Professor Mikotoba?
Even your best friend can't see through the disguise. I think we would...
Am I... You've got to be shitting me. Not again. Am I disguised as Naruhodo? Why does this keep happening? This is the same thing that happened in Ace Attorney 3 in Trials and Tribulations, except it was a bad guy impersonating me, and fucking everybody fell for it for some reason. Disguise?
Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. It's just that... No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, that varsity cap, that varsity cape, that varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University. A male student. I'm so glad you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 this morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see...
It was the only way. The only way you should be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial.
My defense? Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom. Despite the fact that the laws of this land apply to all people, male and female alike.
I love cross-dressing arcs in media. Is she trans? Is that the plot? I don't think so. I think she's just skirting the law, which is also morally correct.
But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door.
Yeah, I resent that I was born into this body feels very trans. That's absolutely true. That is a very trans sentiment. Yeah, this is when Susato goes back to Japan. I'm assuming at the end of the first game.
So that I can act as your lawyer. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me. Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you. Ray.
I hope you can tell these two voices apart because I can't really.
It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already. And yet just because you're a woman. What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Ray, please don't look at me like that with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, you really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice.
Dusty is trans and the other one is gay. Yeah. Happy Pride, everyone.
You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man.
Is that something to be pleased about if you're just a cis-het woman? I don't know.
I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today.
I can't wait to see her model. I hope they just reuse the Naruhodo model. That'd be really funny. They probably won't, though. I assume they have a custom one. The other one is very gender affirming, I guess. I'm not sure how this all works.
Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped, and how you're trembling ever so slightly.
Yeah, or it's just they don't change the model at all. That'd also be pretty funny. I've seen fan art of Susato in this outfit. Oh, really? That's fun. I've not seen, like, any Ace Attorney fan art.
Susato.
Oh, that's Ray.
Susato, you do believe in me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right?
Excuse me.
Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I've absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side. Because that's what it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Susato.
Defendant, counsel. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
All cops sound the same.
You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty.
Oh.
Stand aside!
I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast.
Well, Susato, you certainly surprised your father. Going to such lengths to be admitted to the courtroom and with no prior experience of being a lawyer.
Why does the game seem more alive, the animations? That might be because for a lot of the old stream, the capturing was fucked up, so like the frame rate was halved or something weird. I never did fully figure out what the issue was, but I think I know how to fix it. And so I've applied that fix early. So hopefully it's a lot smoother. I don't know for sure. I can't really tell until I watch the recording. But hopefully it's all good.
There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this.
Yes, quite right. I've kept that information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that.
And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was?
We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my students.
Thank you, Father.
Alright. Is this because they don't want to make Britain look bad and like screw up the wasn't there like a treaty or something that was like set up that nobody wanted to trample on in the first game?
I'm Susato Mikotoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain. But 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan.
He's our boy.
How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder? Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san.
It is, okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I played the first game, but I remember that. 13th of August, 9 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 1. Fuck me, not this guy again. Oh, what was your voice?
This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Mimbami.
The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency.
I like that it's pink. That's pretty great.
Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready.
Ready.
Ah, yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaru Naruhodo. Is that correct?
Ryutaru, that's pretty funny.
Sorry?
Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for you for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel?
Yes, that's right. It's me. Yes, I am Ryutaru, he who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan.
Seems Ryutaru may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild, wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen.
To my knowledge, it is a real treaty that was ratified in the early 1900s. Oh, good to know.
Naruhodo?
A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, wouldn't that perchance be?
You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. That is,
His cousin.
That's right. Ryutaru here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any of Tokyo's preeminent lawyers.
Any of them,
Tut. Oh, what a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has had to call in a country boy.
How dare you? Susato was every bit as gallant and dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. I'll fucking kill you.
Her?
Oh, Please be careful, Ray.
What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is your gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not.
I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, eyes are want to flit.
Imagine being both the dipshit and the defendant.
The case has to be heard on this day is, the case to be heard on this day is a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire.
What's your opinion on anal? All Nazis are losers? Love it. Big fan.
Just like the trial 9 months ago. And yet, for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock. Dear me.
Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense, to determine whether or not whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, the same judge tested him as well.
Just to clarify, what is it that you love? The concepts of all Nazis being losers, aka all Nazis are losers, aka anal.
And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions?
Can you say it one more time, just nice and clearly into the camera?
I love anal. Love it.
That isn't clear, but sure.
Alright, it's time to prove myself. Ow! Yes, Your Excellency, but please do make them simple.
What the fuck? Hey, why is it going on its own? Stop. Weird. I don't know why that happened.
Very well, to start with, you will state the name of the victim.
All that peeking. I was very close to it.
Phew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried.
What's the matter?
Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, minds are want to blank.
It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position, and in that guise. Even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances.
Oh dear, this is a dismal failure.
Don't fret, you need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem.
Of course, the court record.
Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record.
That's right, just use E to open the court record. Then you need to flip to the People section with E. Don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely. You have 5 seconds to read the name or you'll game over.
Alright, check the court record with E. That's where the information I need will be. I'm a poet and I didn't know it.
Victim Giselle Brett, female, British, time of death 11th August at around 2 p.m. Ascertained by examination and witness statements. Okay. I'm assuming that means that nobody saw the murder. And they're just kind of putting that together based on that second sentence. Cause of death, single deep stab wound from behind, piercing a lung and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. That's probably important. Notes, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. Is this gonna be another poison situation? Sounds like it.
I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case?
Giselle Brett.
have a question. The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett.
Giselle Brett.
Name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure.
The whole bit was too long for a clip, so I had to take context away. Fair.
Correct. And being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name.
Huh.
So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why then is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago, but if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record. Again, hit E.
Obviously, I still remember. That was the start of everything.
Giselle Brett. Behind the woman's student's persona was the face of a killer.
Yes!
Al, 9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed. And the culprit was Giselle Brett.
Yes, she was a killer.
I don't know who this is.
At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead.
Oh, right. Iris's dad died, and she doesn't know. I forgot about that.
I believe he was an associate of yours,
This is the judge.
Professor Mikotoba. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He'd been my mentor when I went to London to study forensic medicine.
I picked up the legendary Krieg assault rifle somewhere, and I love it so much. Which one is that? Iris, I want to throw her out a window. She's, hit or miss.
Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university.
Oh, Pain is Power. Yeah. I know that one. That's a good one.
Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter the government wished to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here at the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. That family name sounds familiar. Anyway, with the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life,
Oh yeah, we never did find out.
she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion.
Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai?
There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship.
And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed. Only the day before.
That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant.
Sometimes this game is like reading Urianger's dialogue from FF14. It gets a little rough to parse sometimes.
Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Over the first hurdle.
Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie.
As is your wish, Your Excellency.
Extremely repetitive. Yeah.
The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight.
Ooh.
On the outskirts of the imperial capital under a bright blue sky at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut, erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes. The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung.
How'd I like the new Malzeno? It was great. It was just like Malzeno on crack, and it was crazy, but really cool. I've only fought it once, but it was a good time.
An injury which proved fatal. There were two persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death. Miss Brett in her bathing attire,
That was her bathing attire?
and the accused, Ray Membami. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider that she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
What is the motive? Hello?
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about.
Powerful motive.
You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Tut, tut, tut. Is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon. No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membami-san, you are a research assistant at the Imperial Yume University, I believe.
Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm that the defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then?
Oh, I was studying under John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson, the visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago.
Uh-oh.
The accused had a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true?
Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man.
Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had towards the Englishwoman who killed him.
Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred.
Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying. The motive was revenge. Plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
How wicked of him to use Ray's underlying respect for her former mentor against her like that.
I must find out more details and something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel and what he said about...
Okay. Probably being alone together, right? I might have to go through all three, but let's see what this pops up.
Membami-san.
Whoops.
Yes, what is it, Naruhodo-san? I'm really starting to wish we'd made my alias Ryotaro Susato.
Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place, and why you were alone with her.
Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present. A detective who was guarding Miss Brett, for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all.
But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett on her bathing sojourn. It was the accused's last chance to take the victim's life.
No.
Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again. Kindly refrain from conjecture, counsel. Shush.
The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that. But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let them goad you.
Oh dear, this is really terrifying. Our father's right. We need more information. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the
Alright, I guess we're going through all three.
I have a question. If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie.
What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student? You fucking idiot, stupid, fuck you. I don't like you. Fuck off.
I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot.
Ah, my apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins.
No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea?
For old time's sake, I believe. Sorry. Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day. Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at our country's wonderful coast. And the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply.
But on what grounds should we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong.
But in fact, a murder took place.
I said don't look at me. It was that young student girl who did it, not I.
No one has proved that yet.
I'm just gonna do her regular voice. I can't keep doing that one.
I wouldn't provoke the man if we don't need to. Shut up! I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over that period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions.
Seeing the murderer of the mentor for whom she had such great respect enjoying such undeserved liberty.
Yes, even if it was only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. I can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment.
Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit. A photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident.
Oh look! A wine bottle and an overturned wine glass. I wonder what that could signify. That is a lot of blood for being stabbed after she was already poisoned, though. Also, her shoes were off.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image.
As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden.
The court will accept this photographic print as evidence.
Okay. Photograph print of the scene taken by the police just after the incident occurred. The stab wound in the victim's back is clearly visible. Alright, noted.
As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant.
Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intend to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence.
Witnesses? But who?
One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt.
Very well then, Counsel. Bring forth your witnesses.
I, Taketsuchi Aochi have been waiting for this moment.
Sorry?
Oh yes, I haven't forgotten. At trial 9 months ago here in this very courthouse, when that irreverent little student boy utterly humiliated me.
Oh, that's right, he had a top knot at the time.
Ah, Ryunosuke Naruhodo!
What? Yes?
This insult to the Aoshi family name will never be forgotten.
Oh, what was your voice again?
You've become conceited with age, Council. By the old, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that.
Oh, right.
Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died.
The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, Council?
Silence! Since I swore revenge back then, there's been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the Aochi growth. You see the seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown?
I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. But where's the hope exactly?
I said silence! Today I face another Yoko student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you, and my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand.
Ooh, witnesses plural.
Looks like the stakes are high on both sides of this trial. The prosecution and the defense each has much to lose.
A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life.
Alright, what do I have to deal with now? Oh, not this son of a... Oh, no! No! Not both of them! Oh, God, what were their names? What were their voices? Oh, no! Alright, I'm gonna go refill my water because I'm gonna need it. I'll be right back. And I have to remember what the hell their voices were. Alright, it's raining outside. There was a chance of that, so it's about time. It's humid as fuck. Hopefully this will reset the humidity a little bit. This game really feels like a play. They do. I totally agree. Do I want ice cream? I think I do. I always vote for ice cream. Ice cream is great. In fact, I might need some after this. To redeem to make you not voice act the characters for like an hour. Well, what's the fun in that? At least I'm not doing this like every stream day until this is done. Because, that was why I was so hesitant to jump right into the second game after I finished the first one. Was because that was back when I was still doing that, and I was like, I can't do this again. And now that I've switched things up, I can make things easier on myself. Yeah, they're like basically storybooks. They're visual novels. Like that works.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court.
I think I remember your voice. Does he have a fucking turtle on his head? What is happening?
Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. Soon to be sold out, the satirical I Am a Cat, a sensational success, by Sosuke Natsume.
Oh my goodness.
Struggling student from the provinces, please, you needn't be in awe of me.
I needn't?
Excuse me.
It's only natural that you would feel nervous in my presence, but all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki, even.
Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here?
Read carefully, Susato. That author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? He exposes you for who you really are. This will be over before it's begun.
Yes, of course. I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could certainly never forget him.
I appreciate the voicing because I'm watching this in the background. Yeah. Otherwise, you have no idea who the fuck is talking. I feel like if you're doing a visual novel, you kind of have to voice act. Like a game like this, or like an RPG, like, unless you're paying attention to it and there's like a lot of dialogue, you kind of have to differentiate them somehow. Out of the kitchen, decided I did not want ice cream. I got pickles instead. Interesting change of heart. But pickles are also good, so sure, why not?
Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so since it's been since I last saw him.
Has he?
And as for Inspector Hosonaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe.
Do I have something on my face?
Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either.
I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony.
He isn't a complete wreck. That's true. He did have like big bags under his eyes, I think, last time. Yeah, he's got a turtle on his head. There's a lot happening here.
It is my guiding principle to carry on all testimonies flawlessly. Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present. But what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Soseki-san? Ah, well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture. On the morning of the incident, in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less.
At Yume University.
After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department. The professor over there, in fact.
With with Professor Mikotoba?
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about two former students who'd studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leave me alone. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy. As you can see, the conversation was written in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial, struggling, stupid student friend. I have plenty of copies.
Thank you very much. He's practically threw that paper at me.
Okay. Soseki Natsume article. Newspaper containing an article about a discussion between my father and Soseki-san. The debate became quite spirited.
Anyway, following my interview with the professor...
Alright, hang on, I want to see that. Okay. There's a cat on him. this crack might have something to do with it. The camera, this might be to prove that this camera was different than the camera that took the shot of the crime scene. Because this one has a crack in it. I don't see anything else that might be particularly important. I like his pose, though. What is that? He looks like he's fucking chopping Professor Mikotoba in the fucking throat. It's like moments before disaster. Fucking... I can't even do it. Magnifying glass. Cat. Alright.
The lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory under strict surveillance, of course.
At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance. And the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her. A detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Thereby, the entire party departed cordially for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all the other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. Oh god. But fortunately, I am at peak physical fitness at the moment, so I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Help! Oh my, Inspector, you... Well, you do have something on your face now. It's ketchup. How unsightly. I do apologize.
I love how much of a train wreck COV weapons are. Oh yeah, they're cobbled together from, like, combustion engines.
Does that mean that you went to the beach too, Father?
Oh no, fortunately I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation. If only I had, I'd never have seen that awful sight. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. Where did you... Have you been here the whole time? What do you write? I said a couple things. What? You just keep writing. Just like... It's one sentence. How many pages do you have? Never mind. Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast.
Of course, Your Excellency.
Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am. Yeah, are you writing as I'm talking? What is wrong with you? Where do you keep coming? You're not supposed to beat guards? Police? Hello? Witness scene.
On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise.
I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard a caterwaul from behind me.
I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question.
Yes. That young girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly.
I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times.
Wrong. It was one. It says so.
Indeed, it does appear that from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it. Very moment of this heinous crime.
What?
Now, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it?
Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer.
What?
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more.
Ah, goodness me. Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand. That's right, the fountain pen. And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. It's a pen, all right. Oh! The owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Rahim Mbami. Initials of the defendant.
No! My back! I think I know something about this case from bumbling about the wiki last time, but I have zero idea how we'd get to what I think it is. Yeah. That's how she goes. There's a lot of twists and turns. Roy Mustang, son of a bitch! It's a Full Metal Alchemist crossover. I should have known.
This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence.
I'm amazed I remember his name. He's such a good character. I love Full Metal Alchemist.
So, have I omitted anything? Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
I don't understand. The prosecutor ouchie of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise.
Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now.
Was it middle school when I watched it? It's been 10 to 12 years? Yeah, fuck, it's been a while. I reread it, I think, more recently, but that was like maybe 4 years ago, 3 or 4. It's really good, though. I still really like it. I should reread it. Yeah, the testimony's got so many fucking holes. The guy said he stabbed her like 9 times. And it says, I think, right in the autopsy that it was 1 stab wound. Like, come on. Single deep stab wound. Jeez. Come on, guys.
Naruhodo-san.
Naruhodo. Oh shit, that's me. That means... Oh, yes, me.
Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Ryotaro, pull yourself together, please.
All right, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness testimonies to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do.
All right. The witness scene. All right. Dating incident was ordering special surveillance assignment in disguise. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what to call out on. I kind of want to see what fucking crab he's talking about.
Hold it!
Ah, you're describing the victim's scream, presumably, Soseki-san.
In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have pierced the heavens. Kya! Or the like. Of course, that's just a metaphor. We renowned authors are wont to describing things so.
Soseki-san wasn't at all like this in England.
Wasn't he? I thought he was.
Anyway, I spun around at the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze.
Yes, the beach hut. I want to know more about the crab, actually. Could you describe the crab?
Colonel Lagan and FMA, what kind of Smash Ultimate is this? Everybody's here! Hey, Zero, how's it going?
Area is popular with government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there for rest and recuperation. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure, erected as a place for people to change or take refuge from the sun.
My most hated and loved game ever. It's a lot.
Although the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sand, everybody saw my wiener. It was mortifying.
Right. I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you.
Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut at a run.
The crab. Can I please explain the...
Or in more literary terms, I decrabbed and peeled off hutwise.
Oh, I got an achievement. Prime Presser. Is that just for the amount of times I've done that? Having successfully pressed a witness during the first cross-examination. Oh, okay. Huh. Alright, well, you didn't tell me the thing I wanted to know, so fuck you. Found the parent question. The girl was astride the Englishwoman, dagger in hand. She stabbed wildly. I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Idiot! Yep. Right there.
Objection!
With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. This shit is rad! Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
Ooh, I like this objection theme. Ooh, I really like this objection theme.
What's the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me.
Who? What? Where? When? How? It's the five W's and the H, young man. Just how many pages do you need?
Not you, Soseki-san. This query is directed at Inspector Hosonaga.
At me.
In your statement just now, you said that the victim was stabbed multiple times.
Yes, that's right. As I said when I entered the hut. The defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon.
Okay, well that's like crazy conjecture, and you're really not allowed to say, oh, do we not have laws against that yet? We don't? Cool. And yet, that cannot be.
What? Get to the point, please, counsel.
In the postmortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed one time only.
Ah.
Help! In other words, Inspector Hosonaga's testimony is clearly flawed.
Oh, the pursuit theme? Is this it? This is also very good. Ooh, I like this soundtrack a lot already.
And Soseki-san,
Me?
you claim to have seen Membami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim.
Yes, I did. Yeah, wildly.
But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding.
Yes, and?
It's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore,
Sound alert request, smooth operator. What is, like, the song? You're a smooth operator. That's the only smooth operator I know. That's like, I think from Fallout? That's mostly where I've heard that kind of music, so that stands to reason.
it's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore,
Oh, Clay saying it from Borderlands 3? I would have to find and isolate that voice track, so that might take a while, but I could find that probably. I don't know how much it would get used.
there was no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
Ah, true. What exactly is your contention, counsel? Are you ever going to tell us?
Yes, Your Excellency, there's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body.
That can't be. Excellent work, Susato.
Okay, this proves nothing. Hey, so she stabbed her and then withdrew the blade. That's it. We assumed incorrectly. She still stabbed her. This doesn't help.
You exploded at them without objection and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Shut up! Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this in that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection attempting to steal the show.
You're right, there were certain similarities.
Borderlands Wiki is usually pretty good about having character lines I saw it already. I guess not for NPCs. Yeah, it's mainly for characters. Like
except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who was only half a head of hair.
Thunder! My head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds, it makes not a jot of difference.
What? Why not?
Engage your brain, young man. Canoodle your noodle.
Whoops. No, nope, shit, fuck. Unban. I accidentally clicked, I clicked too far on the right and accidentally banned you. That should have fixed it. I have to remod you. Hold up. I banned you and then I tried to unban you and I hit the timeout button. So I really fucked you up. Apologies.
When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, that was the fatal blow. And it was that moment that just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike that the witnesses saw. The knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Ah. All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustached author is prone to moments of extravagance.
Ah! My fucking back! Ah! Why do I keep doing that?
I'm in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion.
But if she was withdrawing the blade?
And we are back where we started.
Sorry.
Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim? And with a demon's cold-blooded composure, too. The prosecution demands an explanation, and it had better be good.
Why did Ray pull out the knife?
Ah, yes, going for the jugular.
What does Father mean by that?
But the gaudier your answer then, counsel.
The truth is, I don't really know. But I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case.
These pickles hurt and I love it. I understand. I get it.
The reason why the defendant pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely so she could save her life? According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant.
That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Indeed, giving her time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates her killer.
The point is, being a medical research assistant, Membami-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life.
Alright, so that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to leave it in. It's the cork, holding the blood in the body. If she was a medical assistant, she would know that. Obviously. Did you hear that, Your Excellency?
Hello, King Doppel. How's it going?
It would seem that this is the best we can expect of this young yokel.
Indeed.
Is it just me, or does it suddenly feel much colder in here?
Your Excellency, if I may. Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify.
Doppel, you missed it. Some dumbass came in spouting complete nonsense and Lance banned them, like, instantly. Yeah. That's what happened.
In respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the yokel defense counsel, I mean. The stupid, ugly, probably tiny dick defense counsel. God, I hate them.
Slipshod.
An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopefully has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems.
What did Matt do now? No, surprisingly.
But in matters of medicine, he appears to not possess not one iota of common sense.
Wow, they actually are going to bring up that you shouldn't remove a knife like that.
Very well, Inspector. I will permit your request. You will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion.
Yes, sir. I will do so flawlessly.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Witness testimony. Forensic medicine primer.
Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. Oh, why is there so much blood out of my body? The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. I have lung cancer, please help. Is what you said just true, Inspector?
I butchered that, that's fine.
Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Yes, think of the weapon itself as a stopper.
That's exactly, wow, okay, they went right for it.
Think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, that stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see.
Ha! This is why yokels should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it.
Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound, so...
Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit.
I've killed several people.
Father, is it true what they're telling me?
Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were able to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways.
But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out that knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Pratt?
I don't know.
Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but... could my friend actually have...
Sato,
Yes?
hold yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here.
Ah.
Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my education immediately afterwards.
Oh boy. I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard.
Okay. I think I'm gonna have to press something here, because I don't think there's any holes. Pulling away from that, I think I gotta say bleeding. It's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Might be that.
Help!
I forget the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. Unexpected mentor. Let's just go all the way through here.
This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in his testimony anywhere. If Ray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it.
Sato, at times like this when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals.
The fundamentals?
Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it?
Of course, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already.
I think I'm forgetting something, though. You didn't take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail, too.
Ah,
I realize this is your first time playing the role of lawyer in the courtroom. Well, if you need reminding of the rudiments, you need only
The rudiments? I've never heard them called that. Oh, interesting. Let me take a look. Oh yeah, is the knife still in the lady? Good call. me just quickly...
Ah, by look in your eyes, I see it's coming back to you. Go through the code, right? Yeah, I got it.
Okay. That's... Nope, not still in her. Not that. Oh, I didn't examine this one. I got it. Oh, that's a fun sprite.
If we take off this pen's lid,
Okay.
there's some sort of emblem here. Look. But it isn't a Yume University one.
Must belong to some other organization, I suppose, a business of some kind. That would seem to imply that the pen doesn't, in fact, belong to Ray.
Okay.
Now, let's unscrew the barrel, shall we?
Oh. There's no ink.
This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink.
Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib.
Is something wrong, Father?
Just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all.
Oh, yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose.
Oh, did the pen have poison in it and she was stabbed with the pen? Is that the deal? Okay. Well, let's take a look at the initials.
The RM initials are very clearly engraved here.
And the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message, too.
To identify her killer, you mean?
I don't think there could be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence in this case.
Okay, I think that's it. Okay, so I think it's probably having to do with the pen? Because this doesn't have any, like, the knife's not still in her. So it was removed. You can see all the bleeding. But what does the pen help me with? Is there something else I missed? Or do I actually have to press here? Oh, I can examine this all the way now. Aha, okay.
Rauka's England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, is it, Father? It looks like as though it was quite an exchange.
Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. Chopped me right in the throat. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand
He actually did get karate chopped in the neck. I was kidding. I was making a dumb joke. He actually did get karate chopped in the neck. I'm also covering his face. Fuck me, there's no good place for my camera in this. Let's try up more. Put it like up here. Oh, fuck, but no. Down here? I think that covers up part of the dialogue, though. Fuck.
I do hope you weren't hurt.
Okay.
This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. There seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive, deadly poison
Oh, there it is.
Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. From Yume's medical research? Father, isn't that your lab?
What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen.
Isn't that this morning's paper that, it's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us? Are you saying that you didn't know?
As embarrassing as that is for that of the laboratory, I didn't. I've not heard any such thing. How on earth could the reporter have gleaned his information?
Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning this story in our paper this morning, was there?
It's a highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I put Ray in charge of the project.
Ray, she was managing it.
What's written here is true. It means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the details were leaked somehow.
I don't believe it.
You need to read this article very carefully.
Okay. Poison article. A pepper seed stuck in your teeth. Oh, that's annoying. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. Following a lecture at Yume by Soseki Natsumi on 11th of August, it's come to the light that a very disturbing incident took place. A deadly poison being secretly developed in the university's forensic science laboratory was stolen. Deadly in tiny quantities, even the smallest amount entering the body either via the mouth or via a wound from a poison-laced blade would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Why is the poison being developed? Onset of symptoms occur in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death. I fucking knew it was poison. Such symptoms would be suggestive of this poison. It's apparently an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids and rumored to be commissioned by the military. Okay. Well, that certainly helps. Okay. Bit of a motive for killing the victim, the man the victim murdered. Okay, this is all good. I don't think it helps me with any contradictions. Can I examine this again now that I know about that, the article? I'll, like, see if the poison's in there? No. Let me try running all the way through again and see if that that triggers anything new. Nope. Oh, is it the reason why she took the knife out was to check for the poison? Maybe that's what I have to do. That's kind of a stretch, but I'll try it. We'll make a save. How do I save again? Options? No. Oh no, yes it is. No good reason why the defendant. I think it's this. Because the reason would be that the blade may have been poisoned. Try it.
Objection!
Hey, we got it.
No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw the knife from the victim's wound.
What? Ha! The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified?
It's here, in this newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from a laboratory at the Imperial Yume
The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case.
But
Prosecutor Auchi, you will let the defense speak.
But a newspaper article, the court cannot rely on the kind of hearsay those wretched publications carry. It's all fake news, I tell you.
Counsel for the defense, I'm going to need some tangible basis for your claim. You will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mentioned affirms your assertion.
Your Excellency.
yes, of course. Thank you. We would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause.
What a fake cause of death, and poison, what a new idea in Ace Attorney. Yeah, no kidding. Reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says... Oh, where in the article? Let's check. Probably... Yeah, this one? Second page? That it would have been possibly on a poisoned blade.
Ow! The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it's rapidly absorbed and causes death in minutes.
Are you suggesting?
If the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Membami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible. Yes, the truth is, it was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body.
Oh, my fucking... Oh, no, I can't have my camera here. Fuck, there's no good place to put my camera in this. I guess I'm gonna have to commit to just covering up someone's face during those evidence sections. That's fine. I can live with that. Middle was best. Just straight in the middle. Just right here. Perfect. What could go wrong? Yeah, I think you're right. I think about here is gonna be the best overall. These games are meant to be mobile games. Yeah, I know what you meant. I was just giving you a hard time. They're meant to be mobile games, so they're meant to take up as much of like the screen real estate as they can. Or at least they're like optimized in that way. So they're meant for very small screens. Just make the camera full screen and don't show the game. I did also think about that though. Like, this bastard's gonna say the very middle. You know me too well.
This is complete and utter nonsense.
Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility.
I can deny that shit all I want. The fuck are you talking about? Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document.
Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking...
Oh, please. This is clearly desperation, the weasel's last breaking of wind.
What?
Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the deformant information in this wretched newspaper article is at all reliable anyway.
In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive.
Yeah, we're really skimming over the point where, like, early in the article it says the poison can't be detected.
But instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense.
What was that smug smile he had for a second there?
Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it, Yoko?
Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved?
Why are games so expensive now? Because corporations are super greedy. And the numbers must go up. Yeah, greedflation. There you go.
Do you want grounds? I'll give you grounds.
What? Is that a threat?
You can't possibly.
Okay, this is a lot of drama. Speed it up. From your expression, counsel, it would appear that those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence.
Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times. From my place at his side in the Old Bailey.
In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article?
I think it's the pen? Yeah, I'm thinking the pen. Unless there's something else in the article? Because it says the poison was developed by the university. She was the part of university, but eh. I'm gonna try the pen. I think it's the pen.
Take that!
How exactly would you explain this piece of evidence connection to the newspaper article?
Ah, fuck, that wasn't it.
In truth, I'm not really sure. But my father always taught me to ask my elders whenever I was in trouble. So I thought I should ask your opinion, Your Excellency.
If it is advice you seek, counsel, then I suggest that before indiscriminately thrusting evidence under my nose, why not thrust it under the nose of the professor at your side?
I think he means you.
Good grief, thrusting that under my nose isn't going to solve anything here. We must use our heads. The article in the paper had details of the toxin. Now, where have we seen similar details? It's nowhere come to mind.
Ah, you mean I had to search through all the evidence looking for that?
I'm not mistaken, it appears the advice of your elders has given you an idea.
Yes, I'd like another chance to present evidence if I may, Your Excellency.
Oh boy, I don't know. What evidence demonstrates a clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article? Oh, it's the fucking autopsy report. It's the constricted pupils. That's what it is.
Take that!
Duh.
I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, was observed in the victim. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science with a tiny dick who looks stupid and probably has no future, I have no idea, so please do tell me.
I'm sorry, don't be so mean to yourself, Jesus.
Presumably, the fact that the condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death.
Well, under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes. What are you doing, you yokel detective?
In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely.
Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt.
Ow! Prosecutor Ouchie! Which is what I say every time I slam my hands down like that. I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence.
You, yokel student and yokel professor!
Shut up! I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions. Now, Eugene Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. We'll tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please.
How's the professor yokel? I think he just calls anyone he doesn't like a yokel.
It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. Don't know.
Oops, I had autoplay.
Toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. You mean to tell the court that the reports of the theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper.
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father.
A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees.
Why do I keep doing that? That's totally a...
Oh, is this Ray? Yep.
I'm here now. None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Ray,
Membami-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like that will not be tolerated.
but it was me. I was the one who noticed the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What?
So you knew? I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. I'm falling apart. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So, I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out. Because I had a very good idea who the thief was. The thief? You don't mean... Yes, of course. It was that dainty Englishwoman.
Mr. Zale Brett.
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me, as if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they'd shrunk to tiny pinpoints.
I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I'd been with her. Which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body. On the blade of the knife in her back.
And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade.
Yes, as if the amount it entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I'd hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom now.
Objection! Shut up! Fuck you, Your Excellency, do not be deceived! The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Membami-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed.
Well,
You have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
Now you shut up. But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you?
I mean, you don't have shit either, but besides like an opinion, so I don't care. Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive.
What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it.
Excuse me. You'll produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Aochi.
Perhaps some praise is due, young Yoko student.
What?
I'd imagine there would be no...
I knew that fucking crack in the camera was gonna come up. Look at that.
I'd imagine there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you've brought this on yourself.
Oof. Oh, we actually see her face for once.
What the? Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable.
Is this? I actually don't know who this is. That's Soseki?
His evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accused's murderous nature. For it shows the precise moment that Membami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back.
No, that's not true. No. I don't believe it. Oh, my fucking back! God, I have to stop. I'm gonna get fucking scoliosis.
Order, order, order. Counsel for the defense, was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom?
Perhaps his voice is yet to break. These yokels are all slow of mind and slow to mature.
Yeah, she was already on the floor.
I'll show you who's slow to mature.
Careful now, Susato was starting to show her face there. It's often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. Alright, she's guilty. The court will accept this extremely cogent
Cogent? I don't know what that means.
photographic print as evidence.
Photographic print taken at the moment the victim was attacked. My friend Ray can be seen kneeling over Miss Brett.
I can't believe he's had a photograph like that up his sleeve this entire time. I mean, they are pretty big sleeves, so she's probably got a lot of things up there. It's such a stark image, I'm genuinely lost for words.
Of an argument or case, clear, logical, and convincing. Huh. The more you know.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. How did you? I mean, who took that photograph? Hey,
Shut it! That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention.
oh,
Objection!
that's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony.
Ah!
I will uphold the defense's demand. The prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that.
Pardon?
You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown.
Goodness.
Are we to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court?
When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you?
Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor. What matters is that the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses.
But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but
The moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste this court's time with your rambling.
Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. The scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear.
oh no,
Sato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim.
yes, we just need to prove that somehow.
You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces, which I hope derails and everyone dies, because I hate you. And to rue the day you came up against Takatsuchi Ouchi in a court of law.
If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it.
Well, counsel,
Your Excellency, the burning question is who took that photograph, and the truth is,
I have the answer.
ow! Why is physical punishment such a running theme in all of this fucking game? I just keep hitting my hands on things, and it hurts every time. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal.
What? No, you can't possibly. What? As you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name.
How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe that you could? Ah! Ow!
However, I'm able to present evidence. The defense is a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. I need a doctor.
What?
Very well then, counsel, present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the mystery photographer?
It's this one. Check. Yep, it's got the same crack in the camera. Boop.
Take that!
What is that? That newspaper again. Raucous England returnees tell all.
It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side.
Really? We can't even tell they're cracks?
Ah, yes indeed, they had already caught my eye as it happens.
Ha! What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably from the branches of a tree or the like.
Do you know how fucking shadows work? Shadows, well known for being colorfully white. You fucking kidding me, dude?
You dumb bastard, there are no trees.
That's not the point that I was making, but alright.
There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you.
Now, if you look closely at this photograph,
Good gracious!
yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Objection!
It's there was the same tree. They transplanted the tree at the same time, and well, that tells us nothing. Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely from the branches of a tree. The same tree.
There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Council.
What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired?
The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of camera defect. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs.
With the photographic device?
Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device.
Ow! In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera.
We winning? Well, this guy's not having a good time, so that's a victory.
I shit myself. But there must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
Ah! I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Ouchie. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. That one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article.
A newspaper? Ah!
That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime.
Wah! Wah!
Wow, there's a lot of different like audio audience tracks that they play. I think I've noticed like 3 separate ones now.
I see why you are called a Raucous England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You've already testified.
Oh, it's many memo, I tell you, many memo. Many memo.
Soseki-san, what was that? Did you say mini memo?
Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move. He knows what my dick looks like. A reporter by the name of Raiten Many Memo. Yes, hounding me from dawn till dusk. A great Tarantino film. Pretty weird though.
Ah, now that he mentions it.
Oh, it's the fucking guy in the back.
Please secretly spy, snapshots, scribbling scupper my piracy.
Could that same reporter be?
A comer to the left of him, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with right and mini memo.
Is that a fucking Steelers wheel reference? No fucking way. What are the localizers on? Jesus. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
So you're saying that this picture was taken by? By Many Memo! Yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire! Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
As you say, Your Excellency, I have to fucking change my pants.
And one more thing. I want this knife. It was in my pocket. The murder weapon examined for traces of poison. I'll solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood?
Meh. Mini Memo!
Like random fucking references. I actually suggest Honkai Star Rail. Don't have to spend. Really? Do they have a lot of like wacky references? To be continued. All right, that's the first part of that. Okay. Hell yeah. Here's the thing, chat. I can definitely tell my voice is starting to get a little messed up. There's a lot of voices in this. I'm wondering if, perhaps, we switch to another game. And then we can come back to this on Friday. This is a good place to stop. Yeah, pace myself. How's my voice faring so far? I can tell it's getting damaged. I can already feel it. It's starting to hurt. I didn't pick great voices. I'm not a good voice actor. I just do things. 42, Rick Astley, you name it, they probably have it somewhere. Wild. Yeah, I think we'll, I think this will be a good place to stop for now. I think we'll switch to, Project Wingman. Just because it's, yeah, just to keep my voice somewhat intact. I'm having a good time, though. It's nice to come back to this game. It's a lot of fun to play all these characters and do this silly stuff. So yeah, I will stop the recording here. YouTube, thanks for watching. We'll be back with more soon.